Tourism includes a broad range of activities. As such, there are various definitions. For this presentation, we will use the description by the World Tourism Organization and the Brazilian Ministry of Tourism. This definition refers to tourism as a voluntary and temporary movement. Therefore, for a person to be regarded as a tourist, they have to have left their permanent residence for less than one voluntarily and temporarily. When people are paid, such as a regular job in the area they are visiting, their voluntary and temporary activities are not regarded as tourism. For instance, a person working for Doctors Without Borders in a specific region is not a tourist, but someone taking a vacation in a particular area for other reasons other than can be defined as a tourist. Tourism has several segments which are often linked. Ecotourism is linked to alternative, educational, and scientific tourism segments which entail tourist activities for different purposes. Alternative tourism entails non-competitive adventure activities with varying degrees of extremity. Educational tourism relates to extra-class activities like field trips and scientific tourism to pursue academic and professional knowledge. Proponents of ecotourism perceive it as a way to protect the natural environment and preserve the local natural environment by protecting the people, plants, and animals indigenous to the area. Ecotourism is perceived as a segment of tourism but looks similar to sustainable tourism, which can apply to any tourism segment. Sustainable tourism is different from ecotourism in that it considers the present and future social, economic, and environmental impacts of tourism in any given area. It reviews the local community's needs, tourists, and industries involved in tourism and the environment. Brazil has multiple resources that provide unique animal and plant species to promote ecotourism as the home to the Amazon. The Amazon River and the surrounding forests attract tourists from all over the world. Every year brings in thousands of people who want to experience the Amazon by engaging in structured activities within the area. Tourists visiting Brazil wish to visit the national parks, experience the country's ecosystems, and have wonder-filled tales to share. Brazil's ecotourism sector has suffered from logging activities in the past few years. As a result, there has been a need for legislation to protect the natural environment. The Environmental Crimes Law and the National Law Number 6398 of 1981 are vital to promoting ecotourism. The laws establish the activities which are considered illegal, such as pollution or removal of animal and plant species from the environment without a permit. Notably, most tourists often find themselves in trouble with the law due to the lack of awareness of the illegality of some of their activities. Ecotourism in Brazil is not without its fair share of challenges. After all, tourism is a sensitive economic sector. Changes in the natural and social environment will directly and indirectly affect tourist activities. In some instances, countries have been known to give travel advisories, warning their citizens about visiting some countries for specific reasons. Any climate change will affect the success of ecotourism since the animal and plant species that attract tourists to a particular ecosystem are dependent on a particular set of climatic conditions. For example, some animals are only found in specific regions due to climatic conditions, like the polar bears in the Arctic or the African lion in the savanna. Global warming, which is a cause and an effect of climate change, influences ecosystems' survival. For example, due to the rise of global temperatures, wildfires in the Amazon spread faster, killing the large population of species. Pollution can also arise in various ways. Another challenge in the past 2 years has been the coronavirus. At one point, Brazil has the second highest rate of deaths, making it an unattractive destination for tourists. Here are some images that depict some of the effects of climate change, which will also affect ecotourism. Change in the climate will have far-reaching effects on all the factors that encourage tourism. For instance, when the climate changes, the indigenous species to a specific zone may start disappearing, The plant species may begin dying out and the animals could migrate. Natural hazards such as wildfires and hurricanes may make an area uninhabitable for the local human, animal, and plant population. Loss of biodiversity and natural hazard will act as repellents to tourists. They will prefer to move to other areas where they feel safe and find excitement, leading to a loss of income from the sector. Consequently, the political environment will change due to the reduced income. Each of the factors affects tourism in specific ways. Climate change directly impacts the physical, social, political, and economic aspects of a country. In Brazil, climate changes can lead to water scarcity, affecting the locals and tourists. Lack of water in the beach destinations will turn tourists away due to unhygienic conditions. The lack of sanitation services will affect the local population if there are no tourist activities to support the regional economy. Per the Paris Agreement of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, Brazil will formally lodge with the Paris Accord Secretariat concerning its commitment to bring to 2050 from 2060 its target for net zero gas emissions of carbon neutrality. The government of Brazil has been removing the sector-specific goals and ending deforestation as it includes an indicative long-term plan that provides for emissions reduction goals for 2025 and 2030 and notes carbon neutrality by 2060. Ecotourism is built on the wish to protect the natural environment of a given area. As a result, it offers a platform to promote sustainable practices essential for preserving and protecting natural habitats. The impacts of climate change can destroy the natural environment by making it inhabitable for the indigenous population. For example, changes in the season will affect the traveling schedules and flora and fauna development and survival, leading to a decline in specific ecotourism activities. Instead of letting tourism decline, the authorities can find new destinations and use their revenue to protect the failing ecosystems. Reducing population and introducing new legislation can be vital to promoting preservation and sustainability efforts. Sometimes the local population may fail to support ecotourism because they do not understand its value to their daily lives. Creating educational programs would be a vital step in promoting ecotourism. The local population can learn about ecotourism, its aspects, and the value they can obtain in their lives through local educational programs. The programs could equip the locals with the skills to facilitate ecotourism activities. The skills can ensure that the locals have a way to earn an income to support themselves. The Brazilian authorities can revise the curriculum to incorporate ecotourism to improve the prevailing perception of the activities and teach about its values to the community and the economy as a whole. Some programs could teach the locals to protect the natural environment for ecotourism activities. Notably, in Brazil, the Amazon is the most attractive ecotourism destination. Therefore, the education programs should teach local and visiting foreigners how to preserve the ecosystem for future visits. Also, the tourists can receive instructions on how to respect the local population, the animals, and the environment in general. Tourism is an essential revenue-generating sector of most economies. Revenue can grow, which can boost the economy in various ways. For example, the Brazilian and American scientists found that if the Amazon were to be preserved, more revenue would be generated for the country than if it was depleted. Additionally, the local population can improve their living standards by participating in ecotourism-related businesses. For example, tourists who want to visit the local ecosystem may require guides, drivers, hotels, etc., which will employ the local population. Tourists have been vital to the development of national projects. Brazil has been able to expand its infrastructure due to and for tourism. For example, The government has built roads for tourists to access the tourist attractions. Of course, tourism alone cannot sustain the economy. Still, it can lead to the development of other sectors with the proper management and investments of the revenue derived from the industry. Ecotourism is broad and has many aspects to it. As discussed earlier, presently, most forms of tourism are still recovering from the break during the coronavirus pandemic. The impact of the pandemic on all sectors of the economy has been detrimental in shaping the perception of tourism and the effects of the decline. The Brazilian government must consider the future of ecotourism and help navigate its path in the future. Some of the considerations include Brazilian authorities can find ways to reduce the carbon footprint and population from the tourism sector in the country. Have contingency plans to promote tourism even in unprecedented situations like the case during the pandemic. Review the impact of the development projects on the natural environment and find ways to manage tourism activities to reduce the negative impacts on the local population. We must protect Mother Earth. Thank you.